How you doing? My name is Javier Young, a graduate student at North Carolina A&T State University, and I'm sitting here today with Dr. Cheryl Seals of Auburn. Aggie Pride. So first off, let me just get your educational background.
Okay. Well, hello, I'm Dr. Cheryl Seals. I went to a very small undergraduate at Grambling State. My dad was a band director there, so I went to Grambling, was in the band, was a computer science and math major. Then I went to North Carolina A&T. Aggie Pride to work on my master's in computer science, emphasizing in software engineering. And from there, we had really good ties with the College of Engineering at Virginia Tech, so I ended up at Virginia Tech for my PhD.
So do you feel that maybe you were at a disadvantage, or it was harder for you because you were African American female?
Oh, that's very challenging. I think it's more so going from a smaller school to a bigger school. There's a lot of differences in individualizing attention to students, and a lot of smaller schools really are looking at the student as a product and thinking about their educational experience, whereas at a larger school, they're just really dealing with their reputation, saying that we're just going to graduate as many as we can, weed out as many as we can based upon our reputation. And at a smaller school, you have more nurturing. So moving from a small school to a big school environment is different. It is challenging, and there are some problems that you run into when you might be the only person of a certain race in your classes. You might not have that affinity model, people that will actually gravitate towards you for doing assignments. So it does make it more challenging.
So during your time obtaining your master's degree, PhD degree, when you maybe felt very down or challenged or maybe out the loop, did you ever feel like giving up? And if so, what was your motivation to keep going?
Of course, we all have those days where we say we just want to pack it up.
Right.
Well, it's not worth it. I called my cousin and said, "What's the matter? What's stressing you out? Just come on home. You don't have to finish and do any of that stuff." So the thing, I guess, that is the motivation is thinking, whenever I start complaining, thinking of all of the things that my ancestors and people had to go through just to even vote. My grandmother said that you had to be able to actually go through and read the Declaration of Independence and do all of these X, Y, and Z tasks to do something that was supposed to be a regular right for everyone. And so when I think of the things that people have had to go through in the past, what I have to go through today is minuscule if you look at the perspective. So I think just to be an example to my family, to make their future better, and also to provide role models for others that might look like me, to know that it's sort of like a proof of concept that this can exist, that you can be an assistant professor, you can be an associate professor at a majority institution if that's what you want. You can be a doctor, a lawyer, but you have to see someone in that model is really helpful. If you see someone that you can aspire to be like or to follow their career path, it can really be helpful.
Okay, I forgot to mention earlier, we are currently at the Richard Tapia Conference 2009 in Portland, Oregon, a celebration of diversity. Now, in your opinion, what does this conference mean to you?
Oh, it is so inspiring to be at a place like this. At most of the conferences that I generally attend, I will be the one person or the 10 people or the 12 people of color at that type of conference. But here you will actually see people that are from all diverse backgrounds that have a common thread that we're trying to figure out. How can we find people that we can find as mentors, people that we can mentor, and that will help you along your career path. So finding people that you can talk to who may have a common struggle, that is something that you don't find in the mainstream. So I really think that a conference like this is beneficial and necessary.
So why computer science?
Oh, I don't know. But what happened is in high school, my dad wanted to be an engineer, but because of the times, he ended up having to go to a teaching institution because in his area, those avenues were not available to people of color. And so he pushed us into doing all types of computing or engineering type things. So we would go to engineering camps in the summer, and all of the people that went to my engineering summer camp wanted to major in computer science because it was really hot. It was during a time when computer science was really hot as a major, and we just all went into computer science. My brothers went into science. My brother's a physicist, and my baby brother is a chemist, and so we all did those type of summer experiences and ended up getting exposed to those type of avenues, and that made us I guess more lean toward the sciences. Took a lot of math in high school and in those type of clubs, and I think that and taking computers in high school actually pushed me into that direction.
Right. So how long have you been at Auburn?
I've been at Auburn 5.5 years.
All right, and just speak about your position.
Okay, so I started at Auburn in 2003, and it kind of happened a little backwards, and then a year later, I thought I was going to finish my PhD right at that moment, but it just didn't happen that way. So I finished my PhD in 2004, and from 2004 to 2009, I have gone from assistant to associate professor in computer science, and so that's really a big thing to actually get a promotion, because that doesn't happen very often, because there aren't as many women in science as we would like, because just because of the rigors of it, and not because of the rigors as far as it being too hard. It's because of the schedule that's imposed, and we really don't think of a new millennium way to open up academia to everyone. So in some ways it's restricted, and we haven't embraced as many women coming into the field. So we're still very low with women and minorities in the field of computing. So we have to get more people of diverse backgrounds in computing, so we can have a bigger affinity model to really welcome people and let them know that computing is a place for people of diverse backgrounds.
Right. What do you think the biggest challenge is as far as connecting to students and getting them interested in education and keeping them motivated throughout their academic career?
It's really challenging, because the country has really not seen education as a rallying cry, and we haven't really put the dollars into education. But government at present looks like they are changing so the pendulum swings.
Right.
So it's swinging back to more money is going into the National Science Foundation, etc. So maybe our government and our people are caring a little bit more about education. So people, try to do what's easy, but sometimes if you do what's challenging, that'll serve you best in the long run. So people have to realize, get out there and show those different aspects of your life to others. They may get interested in doing science and technology. The times are changing. People may be able to embrace that more, and a lot of, I've seen with African American populations, they want to do helping professions.
Right.
So if computing doesn't look like a helping profession, why would I want to do that? I'd rather be a doctor that goes to a hospital. But we have to show people that computing actually is a helping profession, and that it helps people do their day-to-day life activities. And when we can make those connections, we may be able to interest more people in computing.
Okay. And lastly, just words of encouragement and motivation. Anything you would just like to say to anybody that's trying to get into computer science?
Wow. Just do it. When I think of computer science, I'll never get bored. It's one of those things that it always changes. If you don't like it, it's like the weather. If you don't like it, it'll be different tomorrow. If you don't like what you're doing in computing today, it'll be different tomorrow. It's always changing, always varied profession, and in the future there will be much job growth. Even though the economy is tight, we don't have a problem. Our students are still getting positions, even as tight as the economy is now. And over the next 10 to 20 years, the computing area, computer network systems analysts, those jobs will grow by 50% over the next decade. And we need to have people of all backgrounds to fill that need, or we'll end up, as a result, having to outsource by not having the people who are qualified here to do those jobs.
Cool. Again, phenomenal, Dr. Cheryl Seals, and myself, Javier, signing out. Thank you.